You can call me Petra or you can call me Bothix. Welcome to my channel. Please like and subscribe. This is known as the Ceropegia woodii. This is just the standard one, as the variegated one has a little bit more pink. The flower is known as a corolla. It's a lantern flower or cage flower. This means that when pollinators come along, they trap them inside to grab the pollen. So after a while, this flower opens up and lets the pollinators out with the pollen. They mainly do it to small flies or other pollinators. Other plants that do this is like the Venus flytrap, but they kill them. This plant does not. Since I got it, it's actually grown so long. So with this plant, less is more when it comes to water because it is sensitive to root rot. I didn't have any sphagnum moss, but I did have cactus mix, so I used that, but I made sure that it was high in organic matter. My orchids came and it was awesome because this is a plant B size, so I'm definitely going to have to put into the work to get it to flower. This is the flower, so this is what it's going to look like. So basically for a 6-month plant of an orchid, it takes about 2.5 years at minimum to get it to flower under right conditions. This one was $20 and I get all my orchids from Tucker's Orchids. This one is my Kiwi Jade flask that was from Tucker's Orchids. This is one of the parent plants it's crossed with. After a couple of days it started to look like this under warmth and nice and good light. The roots started to look very, very strong and healthy. My main indicators to get them out of the flask is that maybe it's a little bit too tall for the bottle or flask you're using it in. Or what happens to some people, even me, is that we get this little bit of white residue on the bottom. That can sometimes be fungal mold, and that might be a good time to do the fungicide process, which I'll explain next. So with the fungicide solution, what I did, because all I had was Yates copper fungicide, so copper can be really dangerous in high amounts to plants. So the left one, the blue one, is the fungicide, which I used 5 mils of the fungicide to a 1 litre water solution. The right is just normal plain tap water. You want to carefully remove the orchids from the flask and wash it with the tap water, carefully making sure you don't break the roots or the leaves, and just get that agar-agar off. So agar-agar is that stuff at the bottom of the flask, as you've seen in the other photo. Agar-agar is what helps the tissue culture process in the orchid flask be able to grow roots. So when you do this, make sure to only do this at 1 minute, 2 minutes max. Then you want to repeat the same process minus the agar-agar washing with the fungicide. But with this process, you're now using the new exposed roots that are now cleaned of their agar-agar, and you're making sure that the fungicide goes on those roots to act as a new protection, as a barrier layer to kind of help when you're planting it in the pots. Some plants with root systems like orchids are very prone to fungal infections. Remember, 1 to 2 minutes max. What I do is I don't do 15 minutes, but I do about 5 to 8 minutes, put on a paper towel. This dries off any excess fungicide and makes sure that it's not in our soil or bark substrate. After drying, I filled up the pots with orchid mix substrate. I made a hole, but instead of shoving it in there like everybody else does, with orchids especially, you want to place them and kind of just move the bark around it. Their root system is really, really fragile. After I potted, they actually ended up rooting themselves after a few days. Rooting themselves. Anyways, this is my Phalaenopsis orchid. It's been flowering for so long, man, but I definitely need to repot it after it flowers. What I've noticed about my own orchids is that they have to be repotted after they flower or else they stress out. My shampoo plant went into dormancy and then I realized it kind of died, as you can see. But then I realized when looking at the pot, the little dude was there. So I didn't know with the shampoo plant, and that was some plants that have rhizomes, that they actually move. Here is after a couple of days. That's how long it's grown, basically. In between those plants, I got this plant, the Anoectochilus roxburghii. I don't know about other places, but I know in New Zealand, if you ever see this plant, it's considered very, very rare. There is a reason. See the pattern or shape, like veins on it? They actually sparkle and shimmer. This is more intense when they're younger, but it still happens when they are much, much older. Probably one of my faves out of my collection. This is Bothet's production, also known as Petra Star. I hope you like this video and see you next time.